Before I start this video, uh, just want to go ahead and check my audio real quick. There's a lot of different trades going on. Um, Specifically, one of the big ones that I'm really going to be talking about is the Marc Gasol trade, which I think could be a good pickup for the Raptors. He's definitely a better, in my opinion, a better scorer than Jonas Valanciunas. Marc Gasol also has the ability to stretch the floor. I don't know his exact 3-point percentage, but I know he has expanded his game out to the 3-point range. Even though I know Jonas could do that, he was starting to work on that part of his game as well. I'll look at the stats and dive deeper into how I think this trade is going to work out for the Raptors. So let me just check my audio real quick. How I think this trade is going to work out for. Alright, so audio is good. Sorry to anybody who heard the double audio just now. But um starting off with Marc Gasol going to the Raptors, I definitely did not see this coming at all. So the Raptors acquired Marc Gasol, and the Grizzlies got Jonas Valanciunas, Dylan Wright, C.J. Miles, and a 2024 second-round pick. At this point, I think the Grizzlies are probably just going to blow it up. They had that core of Mike Conley and Marc Gasol. And a few years back, they had Zach Randolph, and they never just could really get over the hump. I remember they got to the conference finals against and played the Spurs, and I believe the Spurs beat them in 4 or 5 games. But I guess they're just gonna blow it up and try to tank for Zion or R.J. Barrett or one of those players from Duke or Kentucky. But diving a little bit deeper into this, I'm going to go ahead and check out the stats of Marc Gasol, because while Marc Gasol has been, pretty solid throughout his career, uh, he has he is getting older. I'm not saying he's on a decline just yet, but he is definitely up there in age. Right now he's 34. But he is a big man. He doesn't really have a whole bunch of uh, his game is not based around athleticism. His game has always been post up, shoot the mid range, and now he's developed that 3-point shot. And just looking at the 2018-2019 season, or even going back to the going back to the 2016-2017 season, that's when he really started putting up the threes, because he was averaging about 4 attempts per game. He was shooting 38% from three. 2017-2018 season, he was averaging 4 3-point attempts a game, shooting 34% from three. In the 2018-2019 season, he was shooting this season he's shooting 4 attempts and averaging about 34% from the field. Um, Free throw percentage for his career, he's a 77% shooter, which is pretty good for a big man. He has the ability to pass the ball. The Grizzlies used to play him a lot from the low post and play him a lot from the high post and let him run the offense. So I definitely think that's going to help the Raptors in the come playoff times when they want to give Kawhi a break or let him get some type of off-ball actions and get some shots up. Try to get some easier shots for him. And for the season, Marc Gasol is averaging 15 points, which is not bad. It's not good. It's pretty decent. But I definitely think with him playing with Kawhi and Kyle Lowry setting him up, he's definitely going to get some easier shots instead of him being the first or second option. He can kind of focus on defense, spot up, shoot, make some good passes, help the other teammates get off open, and they can run some offense through him. But looking at his defensive field goal percentage, he was allowing his opponents to shoot 48% from the field on 12 attempts. So that's definitely not what you want to see from your big man. Going back to the 2017-2018 season, he was allowing his opponent to shoot 46.7% from the field on 12 attempts. In the 2016-2017 season, same thing, 46% from the field is what he's allowing his opponent to shoot on 11 attempts. I'm trying to see if I go all the way back to the 2014-2015 season, he was allowing his opponent to shoot 43% on 12 attempts, which is it's better. And in 2013-2014 season, he was allowing his opponent to shoot 46% on 11 attempts. So Marc Gasol has, just based on the stats from what I'm seeing, going back to 2013-2014, it doesn't seem like he has been the best defender, but that's just in the regular season. Let me go ahead and try to check these playoff stats. Even in the playoffs, 2016-2017 season, he was allowing his opponent to shoot 52%. That's on 11 attempts. Let me try to go back to 2015-2016. It's saying no data, so they probably did not make the playoffs that year. But if I go back to the 2014-2015 season, he was allowing his opponent to shoot 40% from the field on 15 attempts. So, as I thought, Marc can definitely play defense. And I know he's a pretty solid big man as far as on the offensive and defensive end. But according to the stats, it's saying, kind of different. The stats are going in a different direction. He averages 1 block for his career, about 1.5 blocks for his career. But another thing that's going to scare me for Marc Gasol is that the NBA is changing. Yes, he can shoot the ball from 3 now, but when it if the Raptors are going to play this switch defense, when they switch, how is Marc Gasol going to do against the elite guards? And the reason you guys hear me talk about the elite guards and against the good playoff teams, because I know he'll do pretty well or okay against teams that are, average. I know he's going to play decent against the average teams, but if you're going to a team like the Raptors, whose their goal is to win a championship, I want to predict my what I'm talking about of how you're going to do against Steph Curry and James Harden, and if you guys make it that far, or Kyrie Irving and Giannis, since he's going to the East. I don't think he has the foot speed or the lateral quickness to stay in front of those guys, but I could definitely still see him helping the Raptors as far as the first through fourth quarter, trying to keep the game close if they're not exactly picking on him and trying to get him in every switch screen and then isolating the floor. I could definitely see him giving the team some good minutes, and then in those last 5 minutes in the fourth quarter, or if the game starts to if they start to get down by too much, they will definitely put in Pascal Siakam or Serge Ibaka, who I think are better defenders as far as switching the screens and trying to guard the elite guards. But Marc could definitely play some good minutes and give those players a break as well. Going over to Jonas Valanciunas, who got traded to the Grizzlies. Just looking at the stats, I already knew Marc Gasol was better, but I just love to see the stats and go up for that, because a lot of times numbers don't lie. Just looking at the 3-point percentage, he was only in the 2017-2018 season on 1 attempt per game. He was averaging he was averaging 40%, but this season he was shooting 30% from the 3-point line on 1 attempt. And just going back to the defensive stats for Jonas Valanciunas, I'm pretty sure they're going to be about what Marc Gasol defensive stats were, or maybe a little bit worse. I'll definitely be surprised if they were better. Well, actually, in this 2018-2019 season, in 20 games, he's allowing his opponent to shoot 43% from the field on 9 attempts. So I'm definitely surprised to see that that is a bit better. Well, he is a bit younger than Marc Gasol as well. But going back to the 2017-2018 season, on 11 attempts, he was allowing his opponent to shoot 47% from the field. And also keep in mind that he has a reduced role now. So for this season, even though his defensive percentage is up to 43%, he was allowing his opponent to shoot 43% from the field. We did have a bigger role in the seasons such as the 2016-2017 season. He was allowing his opponent to shoot 48.6% from the field on 10 attempts. So the Raptors definitely, obviously, as anybody knows who watched basketball, they definitely upgraded their center position as far as a a better, to me, I think Marc Gasol's a better post scorer, and obviously he's a better shooter. But you still have Serge Ibaka, and you still have Pascal Siakam. So if anything, even though he may not be as good of a defender as those guys, as far as on the perimeter, he'll definitely help them, give them some good minutes, and give those guys a break, like I stated earlier. So moving on to another interesting trade. I saw that the 76ers just picked up James Ennis. So the 76ers are just going to be they're going to be a really big team. They just got Tobias Harris, and now they have James Ennis. So in just their starting lineup, with Ben Simmons, J.J. Redick, Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid, they're averaging, all of the players are at least about 6'6" and up. I know J.J.'s about 6'3" or 6'4". Somebody can correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's about that. But if they take out J.J. Redick and they put in James Ennis, then everyone on their team is at least 6'7" and 6'8" and up, and that's a really, really big team. And against teams where you're going to switch a lot, that's definitely going to help them in the playoffs. To where if you're doing a point guard and center screen situation, even on that switch, the center won't have an advantage on the point guard, on Ben Simmons, because Ben Simmons is 6'10", 6'9", 6'10", maybe even 6'11". So I'm not sure. I'm going to pull up the stats now. I'm not sure how good of a three-point shooter James Ennis is. I know he's a 3-and-D guy. That's his role. I know he's pretty athletic. He's 6'7", 210. As for his career, I have the stats right now. He's a 36% three-point shooter, which isn't bad. In this season, 2018-2019 season, on 3 attempts, he's averaging 36% from 3. He's averaging 7 points per game. Let's go ahead and put up these defensive stats just to see what he'll be bringing to the table on the defensive end. Joel Embiid is definitely going to help this, because he's a pretty good big man, good at protecting the rim. But you still want to be able to play good individual defense, because if you play a team like the Celtics, who has a stretch 5 in Al Horford, Joel Embiid can't save you if he's guarding Horford, because if Joel Embiid leads off Horford to try to get a block, then who's ever driving to the rim will just kick it out to Horford for the open 3. And just looking at his stats from this year, on 7 attempts, he's allowing his opponent to shoot 54% from the field, which is horrible. I definitely was not expecting to see that. But in 71 games in the 2017-2018 season, he was allowing his opponent on 7 attempts per game to shoot 42% from the field, which is much better. And if he can get to that level, he can definitely be a pretty solid pickup for the 76ers. And I'm interested to see how this is going to turn out. And in the 2016-2017 season, he allowed on 7 attempts his opponent to shoot 43.8% from the field. So he definitely has the potential to play defense, as stated earlier. The Rockets definitely need that, and he's definitely a bigger guy. I don't see him faring too well against the elite players like Kevin Durant or Stephen Curry, but there's really no player who can slow down those guys. You just have to make them work harder as far as getting a bucket. So instead of having 30 points on 50% shooting, if you can get those guys to having those 30 points on maybe 45 to 43% shooting, then that's while that's still good, it definitely is not their usual shooting percentage from the field, and you definitely did your job of trying to slow them down. And I also saw that Nikola Mirotic just got traded to the Bucks. And I think this is a really good move for the Bucks, just because the Bucks need as many shooters as they can get to surround Giannis around. We saw, to me, the Bucks are kind of taking on that Cavaliers play style when Kyrie was traded, and it was just LeBron and Kevin Love and a bunch of shooters. And we saw that was a pretty, well, not pretty. It was a great offense. They did struggle on defense, but because their offense was so lethal, I hear Mark Jackson say it all the time. A great offense is the best defense. And just looking at the stats, Mirotic for his career is a 35% three-point shooter, and on 7 attempts for the Pelicans this year, he was shooting 36% from 3. On 6 attempts last year in the 2017-2018 season with the Pelicans, he was shooting 33%. And also in that 2017-2018 season, because he had got traded to the Pelicans in Chicago, on 6 attempts, he was shooting 42% from the field. So definitely a solid pickup for the Bucks as far as shooting, but defense is where I know he's going to struggle, because I've watched him a few times. Cause I watched a few Pelicans games to watch Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday, and I know he doesn't have the foot speed to stay in front of those elite guards. The Bucks have Brook Lopez and now Nikola Mirotic, who are not two guys who have the lateral quickness or foot speed to stay in front of those elite guards, but because they can shoot, it'll definitely help Giannis and Eric Bledsoe and Chris Middleton operate with a bit more space. And just looking at his stats for the 2018-2019 season for Nikola Mirotic, he's allowing his opponent to shoot 46.5% from the field on 12 attempts. And going back to the 2017-2018 season, on 11 attempts, he was allowing his opponent to shoot 45.8% from the field. And going back to the 2016-2017 season, which is real surprising, in 69 games, on 9 attempts, he was allowing his opponent to shoot 41.9% from the field. So I definitely was not expecting to see that at all. That's actually really shocking to me. But going back to the 2015-2016 season, on 10 attempts, he was allowing his opponent to shoot 45.6% from the field. But all in all, I think it's a good pickup for the Bucks, just because you can never have too many shooters, and he's 6'9", 6'10", so he can rebound as well. He can push the ball up the floor on fast break situations. And he's a pretty solid free throw shooter as well. I'm just waiting for my phone to load. Looking at the stats, for his career, he's shooting 80% from the free throw line, which is not bad at all for a power forward / small forward, depending on where the Bucks want to play him at. But I believe they'll probably play him at power forward. I believe that's the only trades that I really wanted to talk about. I know there was many more, but right now I'm just focusing on the contenders and the guys and the teams that can potentially compete for a championship. Still waiting to see what is going to happen with Anthony Davis, if anything happens at all. But as of right now, Marc Gasol going to the Grizzlies is the latest trade that I'm seeing on the NBA trade tracker. And if anything happens, I'll be back with another video.